How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Good evening, Julien. How is life in Paris today?
It's beautiful. The weather is great. The time is great. The customer experience is terrible. But I mean, another day in my life. So, not in my life, actually. I got a story to tell you today, and it's not really my story. It's my wife's story. But I
Mm,
really lived every piece of it. So I kind of
man,
feel bad for her.
that counts. You're close enough. You definitely have the experience. The couch is open. You want to hop on?
Yes,
All
I
right.
will. And I'll try to tell the story as well as possible, knowing that it's not my story to start with. And second thing is a couple of years old now,
Mm,
so it's I'm going to try to be as close to the truth as possible, but I guarantee it was a very painful one. So in France, we are lucky enough to have a pretty good social security system that allows you to be paid when unemployed if you fit specific criteria, right? If you worked for a few months, basically some money is taken away from your salary every month,
right.
and that goes to a pot that allows you to be paid for a certain period of time. Obviously, you don't get 100% of your
Mhm.
original salary, but that helps paying the bill until you find a new job. And that's a pretty good system, with many flaws, as you can imagine, but still pretty good system until you actually start claiming things.
Uh-huh.
So my wife and I, we moved to France a few years back. She's a foreigner, so it was difficult in the first place to find a job, but she found a pretty good job for a year. That was a temp job, so we knew that was a contract job. We knew it would end after a year. And not being French, she was actually very happy, surprised, but happy to be entitled to get this kind of money.
Sure.
And she paid for it, so she was allowed to enjoy it. But that's when things started. So she actually applied for it. Online application form, nothing too complex. At least I can't recall there was any problem with it. And at the end of the registration, she was told, "You're gonna have information for an appointment, and you have to show up to that appointment. Just stay tuned, it's coming." And then she does receive a letter in her mailbox, an actual physical letter in our physical mailbox, telling her that she has to come in person to that appointment yesterday.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
And I
All right.
I
This is
don't know
breaking
if
now.
maybe now time travel machine exists, but at that time, I guarantee there was no time travel machine. At least it was not available to most people. So she called them and said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I look like I missed the appointment, but you know, I received a letter only today, so there's really nothing I can do about it." Said, "All right, you're gonna have to reschedule another one. Your second follow-up meeting is next week, but you have to reschedule the first meeting." All right. So she tried to go online, go through the system again. It's not clear, it doesn't work. But anyway, she has another appointment next week. So she shows up. She goes in person, which that's probably an hour transportation to get there.
Mm.
And then she goes there and she's told, "Well, you missed the first appointment, right? Well, if you missed the first appointment, you're not registered, so there's nothing I can do." And she's like, "But look, I have all my documents, everything you asked for. You are available because you planned 30 minutes in your calendar. I'm here. Can we just do the registration now?" "Sorry, not my job. You gotta apply online again." So she
Oh.
insists quite a bit, and she said, "Look, I have all my documents. Can you at least scan it, start the files that we can save some time? Because I came all the way to here for nothing." They finally agree. They scan the documents, send her on her way. She goes home, and I help her making an official complaint about the fact that it's poorly managed, and you can't ask people to receive a mail to come to an appointment the day before that. What happens is they tell her on the phone, "Well, actually, you're still not registered. You say someone took your documents, right? Do you have an actual ticket number or something?" "Well, no, I don't." "Well, then you're
Why
not
would
registered. So you're going to have to come back again, but I help you register," right? So she makes it. And then the time is not convenient and a lot of things are just not working the right way. And that's when the best moment happened that got my wife furious. The lady on the phone said, "Well, you're unemployed, right? You have nothing else better to do anyway, so
I?
just come again."
Oh.
Um, I don't know if you can call it customer experience because per se she's not really a customer, but she was furious about it. I mean, from French service is not famous for being very good, but still that was pretty bad. So anyway, she shows up, and then what happens on that new appointment? They say, "Oh, sorry, your name is not on the list. I we can't help you today." She got pretty upset about it. She pushed a lot, complained a lot, then finally they accept to take care of her. And then next, the lady is telling her, why are you coming with all your documents? Why don't you just upload it online on the website? And then she just lost it. She's like, I've asked from the beginning to upload it on the website. You're not giving me an access. You tell me I need to come in person. That's the second or third time I come. It's just a gigantic mess. And then the lady said, oh, well, actually, now that you mention it, yeah, you still don't have you have not registered, so you don't have an access. You cannot do it online. So I'm going to scan all of the documents. And he went on and on and on. That was a terribly painful experience. I mean, ultimately, that is a beautiful system where you get paid even when you're unemployed. So you don't feel so panicked when you lose your job, which is a great thing. But that's such a broken system where, it got a mix of everything I love. Sending paper letter to customer, asking them to come in person, setting appointment with the most old school system you could imagine, and scanning paper that you could actually upload on the website. I mean, the whole experience is everything I love in one short experience. I just felt so bad for her. And I had to share it. I'm hoping she's going to feel better by listening to me whining about it.
I hope so too. The only nit I would pick is you said one short experience. Sounds like there was nothing short about the experience. We've had similar issues here with COVID. The California Unemployment EDD, Unemployment Development Department, or whatever that stands for. They were, not surprisingly, they were slammed, and they fell into absolute, complete, and total dysfunction that they still, I don't think, have dug themselves out of. But the fact that this was all happening before that, just in a normal time, really speaks poorly of the system.
And that's the thing, because as I hear you speaking, I was thinking, but that's not even COVID. That's way before the whole pandemic. And that was just so poorly handled. I could not believe it could be that bad. Now, a funny thing is, well, I don't know if it's funny. You say it was much longer. I could actually go on and on, because for the past 3 years, anytime we've had to contact them, that was terrible. They've been asking for the same document months after months for over a year and a half. My wife just given up. She said, for the first few months, she said, I sent it to you last month, but I'm sending it to you again so that you have a copy. After like 7 or 8 months, she's just given up because yeah, but it's not in your system. Can you send it again? Just that was another manager before, but now forget it. The whole situation is terrible. And I actually happen to have someone in my family, a cousin I don't talk to very often, but I've had a chat with that cousin a few months ago, and I just realized that she worked for that company. Ooh. And she just told me, look, our KPIs are not about can we help you find a job? They're not about are you happy with the system? They're not about was it fast? Was it good? It's just about have we been able to show up at 9 in the morning and leave after 5 at night? If we do that, job done. Then you don't need to bother about processes, making people happy, or actually finding a new job to them. That's not part of the KPIs. I found it so terrible. But I guess they don't need to police people. They probably want to make sure as few people as possible request the money they get. So.
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of when I had my whine about the IRS a few weeks ago, which isn't settled yet, by the way. And what was your comment? This is a club that you're in no matter what. It's the same thing. There's no competition. There's no incentive for good customer service unless someone on high in the government says, we're going to judge you by having a reasonable customer experience instead of, did you show up? It's interesting. I did a webinar with a rep from Forrester, analyst, who was about customer service in government. And, it's interesting. There are a lot of arguments for why government organizations need to serve their constituents well. Interestingly, he used the word customers. He felt like that was a good word for government organizations to use. And there is a desire for good customer service, but I think, unfortunately, the answer is what you said right up front. What's the incentive?
Well, and that's why I think those companies need to think a little bit more, because beside customers being happy, there is real value that's being left on the table. Think about it. So let's just take the situation. First, they're sending letters. Letters have a cost, right? Sending an email is definitely faster, more automated, cheaper, and obviously you end up getting your appointment. Then there is also a cost associated to the fact that if you are being so inefficient and people send you 1 million emails versus sending you just a few emails, the volume of messages, of complaints you need to handle gets lower, means you probably need less people, or you can manage it differently. I mean, there are so many good reasons, monetary reasons.
Yeah, appointments that put somebody out of pocket for half an hour that couldn't happen. 7 or 8 sendings of the same document that can't show up anywhere, taking the time to scan documents and not being able to find it later. Yeah, you're right. This is rife with, I was going to say inefficiencies, but it's dysfunction.
It's dysfunction,
really
absolutely. And that goes back to, I don't remember for which story we talked about this, but I think at some point you got to look at mystery shopper. And that's probably I'm not even sure you can do mystery shopping for this kind of business, but that's, you have to figure it out. And sometimes you're so deep in these types of problem, you don't even realize there's a problem anymore, right? Even though in this case it's pretty obvious, but I'm guessing they don't even realize there's a problem. And sometimes you need someone from a more objective perspective to tell you, there's definitely something you need to fix here. And they probably need someone from a CX consultant of some sort, I guess, to tell them, you're leaving money on the table here. There are some inefficiencies you could fix.
I guess that's the answer. I guess someone has to wake them up to the financial cost of doing it this way. All right. So you're really good at automated email campaigns. You think you can do something here and make something happen?
No, I'm not sure I want to get into this, but if there's any French CX consultant listening to that, there is a huge opportunity there. Or if there is any engineer able to create time machine, there are millions of customers waiting for you to come with that solution. So thank you so much for
I got to admit, if I had a time machine going back a day to make my appointment with the unemployment office, probably wouldn't be my first choice of where to go, but that's okay.
All right. Well, I can understand that. Anyway, thank you so much. I'll tell my wife I feel better, so I'm hoping she does feel better as well.
All right. And let her know that we're looking for a consultant, so that won't help her in the past, but maybe it'll help somebody in the future.
I hope so. Thank you so much, Max. Have a beautiful weekend. We talk again next week.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Julien.
Bye.